we do offer something. I mean, Little Cities does offer something quite different. It's like built from the ground up for VR. It's a lot more cozy. It's I mean,
There
you've
it
seen
is.
I mean, you've played it. You've seen the art.
So here's the drinking game to the viewers out there. Every time you hear the word cozy, take a shot.
Yes.
I love it.
Hello there, friends, and welcome back to On Location, the show where we invite our friends from inside the industry to meet
Press the
us
start button on the
somewhere
scoreboard to play.
in the metaverse. Is that what we're calling it now, guys? It's the metaverse. Somewhere in VR to talk about VR and the tech that we all love. Today's guest has been a friend of the channel for some time, although I think this is the first time that I've ever actually met you anywhere outside of a chat room, Jimmy. So welcome to Rec Room, and thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've properly spoken outside of email and maybe Discord.
Yeah, well, for what it's worth, your voice sounds exactly like the one in my head that I imagined for you. So we're off to a good start. So Jimmy works for nDreams, which is one of the top VR gaming studios in the world. The studio which brought us Phantom Covert Ops, most recently Fracked, which was awesome on PlayStation VR. Shooty Fruity,
Press the start button on the
I think
scoreboard
Bloody
to play.
Zombies, perfect. I mean, you guys have a bunch of stuff out. I had to. What would you say your title is? Community manager, Jimmy? Is that what your official title is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Jimmy.
definitely. Yeah, community manager.
So Jimmy is the community manager over at nDreams. I guess their next project is their first that I know of publishing project, as Little Cities from Purple Yonder is about to hit the Oculus Quest store on April 21st. So I'm looking forward to talking to you a little about Little Cities today, a little bit about what else is going on at nDreams, which is a lot these days, huh?
Yeah, quite a bit. I think we've got one of the biggest lineups I think we've ever had, and yeah, I think we don't go long between announcements for the next year, so you've got a lot to come.
That's awesome, dude. It's like the new gold rush, isn't it? The metaverse, like everyone, like
Press the
Mark
start button on
Zuckerberg
the
kind of
scoreboard
spoke
to
the
play.
metaverse into existence last October, and ever since then, it's just been this mad dash. Everyone throwing their money on the table and trying to start as many projects as they possibly can. I've been in the space
That's
for 4 or 5 years now, and I've never seen anything like this. It's nuts.
Yeah,
that's
I
why
think
I
it's
was-
definitely starting to pick up.
Yeah, there's a few studios that I'm excited about, and nDreams is definitely one of them.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
There's probably, I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 projects that you guys are working on right now that are potentially could change with the way we play VR right now, which is I'm super excited about.
See, this is why we
Very
have
nice of you to say, thank you.
this is why we're so excited to have Jimmy here, is to talk about this stuff, try to trick him into telling us something that he's not supposed to, and we'll make headlines tomorrow.
Which could happen.
Sweet.
Anyway, thank you again, Jimmy, not only for hanging out with us today, but for your
Press the
ongoing
start button on the
support of our
scoreboard to
channel.
play.
You and your company have been among our biggest supporters, even before you were with nDreams. We had a very close relationship with them, and it's very much appreciated. So thank you.
That's all right. I'm glad to continue it.
Anyway,
Where did you get the cool sword?
good question.
That's what I want to know. I'm standing behind you looking at that sword, and I'm like, motherfucker, I don't have a gun or sword on my back.
right.
Before I
Cool.
jumped in here with you guys, I was looking on the store and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just dress as I usually would in real life. And I was like, that sword does look nice though.
Yeah.
Well, you don't go to work with a sword on your back?
No,
This
they
is-
don't let me.
This is the
I
These are
picture
the-
every developer going to work with a sword on their back.
these are the cultural differences. Here in America, we got guns. Over there, they have to carry swords.
Yeah.
Anyway, for those of you who don't know how this on location
Press
thing
the start
works,
button on the
we're just
scoreboard
going to
to
hang
play.
out and play some VR. In particularly action-oriented titles like this, We're going to play for a little while, stop and talk for a little while, play for a little while, stop and talk for a little while. And then a little bit later on, if we have the opportunity to get into some slower paced stuff, maybe we can talk as we go. But there's not going to be much discussion going on while we're fighting off robots in here, I can assure you. But it should be a good time. It should be a good conversation, and it should be a good episode. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you can stay informed next time we go on location. Anyway, before we jump in real quick, Jimmy, tell us a little bit about yourself personally. How long have you been gaming?
Oh god. So since I was a kid, really, my dad got me into it. So I think the first console we ever had was a Super Nintendo, like SNES.
Nice.
At first game I played was probably Super Mario World.
I knew it.
And then
Press the start button on the scoreboard to play.
one of those people. And then from there, yeah, it's just been we've had like a console from every generation, really. But since probably PlayStation 1, I've kind of fallen into the PlayStation ecosystem, and that's where I've sat since then.
Yeah, my story is pretty much identical to yours, only I started on 8-bit Nintendo with the original Super Mario Brothers. I would imagine Root started on Atari 2600, and this guy here probably started on Pong or Checkers or something, right?
Yeah, you remember the Big Whopper from War Games?
Oh, there you go.
Me and Joshua, we started together.
Actually, we had we had a Tandy growing up and Pong, but we had a Tandy that was the game loaded up by audio cassette with a screechy. It was like 20 minutes long, and if you like for some reason it scubbed, you had to like start over. And I specifically remember the amazing game that took 20 minutes to load,
Press the start
and
button
you were
on the
defending
scoreboard to
your
play.
outhouse from aliens that were stealing toilet paper. And the irony is, like, who would have thought they could think so far into the future for to today? 2000. Well, that was really 2020. Was a toilet paper kerbopple, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, I've watched content on those old cassette-driven computer games, and I mean, they were convoluted, man. You had like these long pages of command lines and stuff that you had to type in certain things just to get it to load right. And some of it didn't even like come with the game. Like you just kind of had to word of mouth learn about how to fix certain things that wouldn't run. It was a different time back then, which I guess it really isn't all that different now, is it?
Well, I mean, think about gaming without a mouse.
Crazy.
I mean,
Oh,
when
yeah.
I
How did
started
we ever
gaming,
manage?
There was no mouse. I know there was no, anything you did. It was a command on the keyboard. So if you were playing PC gaming, when you went to do something, it was you typed in a command, and it wasn't even a one button press. There was no WASD. There wasn't any of that. It was you had
Press
to type
the
in
start button on
commands
the
to do
scoreboard
something.
to
You had to
play.
type in walk forward or walk backwards or grab sword. I mean, that's it was all text commands. It was rudimentary. But look how far we've come in my lifetime. I'm in my mid to late 40s. Don't laugh. And from starting with that type of gaming in my span of a lifetime, look how far we've come. So for us, I mean, we really could be, by the time my daughter is my age, she could be a holodeck, right?
Oh, for sure.
Or even sooner.
Yeah.
For sure. We're going to jump more in the next 10 to 15 years than we have in the last 20 to 30. And I think that is becoming very, very evident, just by watching the news and seeing what they're working on next. Things that are about to take off in a very big way.
Yeah, definitely. I blew my dad's mind because he got me into gaming, but he kind of fell off it. Life got in the way, I guess. But he'd not really played anything since
Press
the
the
Super
start button on the
Nintendo, and I
scoreboard to
put him
play.
into a Quest. And he was just like, "Is this what games are now?"
Yeah. Yes, the same thing. It's the same thing with my dad. My dad actually owns a Quest. Now my sisters do. Basically, anyone I've ever been able to talk into putting the headset on has one now. And it isn't all about gaming. Like my dad has his games that he likes. He likes to play Black Hole Pool. He likes to play Ultra Wings. He has a very limited palette when it comes to that. But the way I sold him on it is I have 3D VR camera that shoots video and stills. And I showed him home videos in the Quest, and he was like, "Oh, I've got to get one of these now," because literally you can capture. Jimmy, you need to get one now. You have a young child at home. These days are going to go away very quickly. You have a very limited window here to capture it. You need to get it on
it's already
Amazon.
going
Start
fast.
button on the
Yeah,
scoreboard to
you need to
play.
get on Amazon today, and it's about $300 or $400 to get a decent VR camera, but you will be glad that you did because you're literally capturing time with it. Anyway, tell us a little bit about your history with VR. Did you were you into VR before you were in Dreams, or did you kind of get into it after?
No, so I was into it before nDreams, and I kind of went searching after studios that were big in that space. So my first experience was, it's recently come back, but The Void, so location-based VR.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, so they did they don't have locations in the UK, and we didn't really have any for the longest time. But they did like a pop-up location in London, and I'm about 4 hours away. But me and my brother were like, okay, it's come over for a couple months. We'll drive down. It's worth the trip. So we drove down and played the Secrets of the Empire experience as the Star Wars one. I think it was the one
Nice.
that later
Press
inspired
the start
Vader
button on
Immortal.
the scoreboard to play.
Yeah, I'm
And it was
familiar.
really good. Yeah, it was really good. I can remember coming out of it, and obviously you have the haptic vest on and everything. And my brother was like, "Those stormtroopers are really accurate." It was like they kept hitting me like every 5 minutes, square on in the chest. And I told him a few days later that it was me. I was shooting him.
Oh, that's amazing. And yeah, and you're right. The Void it has recently announced that they're coming back. But can you imagine? Because it's going to be all new tech now. And instead of wearing backpack
Yeah.
PCs, it's just going to be wirelessly connected to a server, I would imagine. And with all the new haptics and all the different, eye tracking, face tracking, body tracking technology, I can only imagine what the next Void is going to be like. We have to go, guys. As soon as it opens.
yeah.
Do you think
I'm
they're
in.
using air
Press the start
dongles,
button on the
Mash? I mean,
scoreboard to
Wes?
play.
We're going to
what
talk
gonna be
about
talking
dongles
about in the
today.
show.
We're going to talk about
Yeah,
dongles
that's
on
what I
the
was
show today. And
Wait a
for
minute.
no
Wait a
I
minute.
was
Who
thinking
doesn't
about
want
that.
to talk about dongles?
exactly, you know who loves dongles?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna insert my mom there. You know what's
Yeah.
crazy is I was thinking about and I'll bring this up on the show later today, but PlayStation VR too. Everyone's freaked out about VR. How easy is it going to be for PlayStation to do the same thing and just
Well,
suddenly have a dongle that you can connect?
well, here's the
Right?
thing. The dongle for PC is it's basically, if I understand correctly, a way to bypass needing a Wi-Fi 6 router. You can just tether straight to your
Right.
PC with the dongle. Who's to say that tech's not already inside the PlayStation? We know that it has like the state-of-the-art Wi-Fi 6 tech built into it. You might not even need a
That's
dongle.
true.
They could just sell like a pro version of their
Press the
headset a
start
couple
button on
years
the
down the
scoreboard to
line
play.
that automatically connects to the PlayStation. We've heard as much.
I don't even think it. I don't think it'll be that long.
Yeah, we've heard rumors about this.
I mean,
before.
Yeah,
Right.
we've recently just heard rumors about more information and data being transferred through Wi-Fi 6 now, and not just the USB-C cable that's going to be hooking it up. So yeah, that was a big mystery to me, is how they're getting all this transfer of this data information from the PlayStation 5 to the headset through just the USB-C cable, because we see the limitations it has with the Quest. With the Quest 2. So now I believe that, some things have come out that they are possibly transferring data already through Wi-Fi from the headset to the PlayStation 5. So to me, that is already a step right towards wireless for them. And I think within 6 months to a year, you could see a Pro model come out that's wireless.
It's very possible. We're
Right.
already hearing
Release of the first.
Press the start button
we're
on the
hearing
scoreboard
rumors
to
about a
play.
PS5 Pro already as well. So I mean, it's very possible. A lot of factors at play here, especially in the world in the state it is today. But certainly nothing out of the realm of possibility these days. The tech advancing at such a high pace. Like who knows what we're going to see in the next year? We don't know. I guarantee something's going to surprise us before March of next year.
Yeah.
Something that's going to hit us completely off guard.
So
Anyway,
Jimmy, how are you guys doing on your PlayStation 2 ports? PlayStation VR 2 ports? Everything going smooth? Tell us all about it.
Well, I can't tell you anything specific, but it is very cool.
I love it. He's been playing on one for months. He's got one in his house right now, Wes.
Oh, for
PlayStation
sure.
2
No,
VR.
actually don't.
well,
I
you should next time you go into to work to the actual office, you should bring a very large bag
Press the
with you,
start button on the
and
scoreboard.
just very inconspicuously maybe fill it up while you're there and sneak out.
Exactly.
I was told that these dev kits are crazy expensive though. Like I was told that there's something like 10 grand each or something, like some nuts number like that. Anyway, you guys, we had a very interesting situation trying to get everything together and in the rec room together with working audio. Very frustrating entrance into the tech today. So why don't we go take out some of our pent-up frustration on some in-game representation of technology in the rise of Jumbotron.
Yeah, when they're able to track it. Down. I gotta walk right in front of you though.
That robot said that wasn't good.
Oh god, I went to go get you, man. What are you doing up there? It's scary.
Whoa!
Man, what are you doing, bro?
Somebody shot me named I Am Rude.
Well,
I'm not sure if
I
I've died to the enemy yet. I've died, but it's not done to the enemy. That's Wes shoots me. All right, that's it. I'm staying behind. I'm gonna shoot all you.
Yeah. Don't step into the line of fire.
Hey!
And by the way, thanks, man. Awesome.
Oh.
All right, see you guys later.
I would love if something came out right now and killed you and then wiped us.
So, by the way,
shit.
Jimmy, if you hear me say something about Jimmy when Mash or Root step into my line of fire, I'm talking about after the fall, Jimmy, not you. So, because he's
Everybody hates
AI
that.
Jimmy.
he's known for stepping in your line of fire and then bitching about it when you shoot him.
I like the clock that's in here, or sporadically. You can see, so you can see what time it is.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
It is nice. By the way, guys,
there's
when we
one
get
in the,
down,
Entry room.
when we get down to the end of this hall, those little floor bots are going to show up and come up
Watch
behind
out!
us. All right, so just be ready for that because they come quickly and they will kill you. If they get close to you, you're dead.
I go.
Those are the guys you were talking about, Wes?
Yeah.
Those are floor bots.
Yeah, they're crazy.
I think there's a weapon in here. Yeah, there's a shotgun or something.
Oh, behind us!
You got you.
Here they come! Here they come! Watch out!
Oh, floor bot got me.
I took out a couple of them. All right, very good.
Nice.
All right. So that's how it goes. It's stuff like that that kills you. Those little things sneak up behind you and you're gone. And they typically kill everyone at once.
Thanks, bud.
Going into the cargo bay. This is a cool game. You guys are going to dig this level we're about to get to here in a minute.
Ooh, there's a exploding canister here. You know who else has an exploding canister?
Yeah, save that stuff, man. You're going to need it.
Yeah, she does.
What's that, the mom jokes?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no, the
Exploding
exploding
canisters.
thing. Oh god.
So I noticed when shooting, like, aiming down the reticle, it doesn't go anywhere near where you would aim.
I don't use the reticle.
I'm not even gonna. I'm just using one hand, dude, because it makes it so much easier. There's no recoil.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean?
Ow!
Crap, I'm down. careful.
Yeah, I gotta get in a different spot. We're in a bad spot here.
Just watch for things that spawn behind you.
Stuff spawns behind us?
Oh, Jimmy took one.
I'm watching behind. I don't see anything yet.
Oh, they're moving.
That comes play first.
Oh, they're coming. Ah.
Jimmy's down again.
I'm waiting for them to come through the door. Will they come through?
Oh yeah, looks like they will.
If they come through, I got a bird's eye view of them.
All right, here they come. Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! All right, there's another guy coming to the door. 2 guys coming to the door.
I wish I could see these.
The wave.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Retreating.
Hey, get on the left side there, somebody above the boxes. I'm up top on here.
Nice.
All right.
Good job,
Good job,
gents.
guys. Yeah, that was awesome.
Good.
We typically
Yeah, good
die by
revive
now on
there,
the first run, so we're doing
There's
well.
one more over there. There's another bot.
Not anymore.
He's gone.
That wasn't good. You sound like the guy from South Park with the trach.
Oh yeah.
Is there 2 different ways to go?
No.
Or what is this?
Engineering.
Another gun over here.
Yeah, it's just another one like the one on my back, I think. I think the next room has, or one of the next rooms have rifles in them, which are really cool. I still did well despite being dead most of the time.
Yeah, I did not. I was dead most of that time.
Oh yeah, baby. This looks just like lo-fi, don't it? Not really.
Alright.
Oh,
My
no.
bad. That's my fault.
What do we gotta do?
You know what? It looks just like Horizons in 5 years.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Oh, is that
grenades. Yeah,
Yeah.
where do you put them on your belt?
I've never successfully thrown a
Oh
grenade.
no!
Uh-oh.
That's what happens every time I try to throw a grenade in this game.
What?
Did you
What
drop
happened?
it? You just
I
drop
just
it?
drop it and blow myself up. Here we go, rock and roll time. Whoa!
I successfully threw the grenade. Was good. It worked really well, actually.
Nice. I'm down.
Guys, look out! Oh God! That got really crazy fast.
Oh damn! Oh, friendly fire!
Sorry, you walked right in front of me, but you didn't know I was there.
I did.
Yeah, you walked right in front of me, but it was partially my fault. I was right behind you, and you didn't know I was there, so.
What were we missing all along?
Having someone other than Sion in here with us.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, because he just wants to knife everybody.
Rifle on the ground if anybody wants it. It's
This is cool.
single shot,
These
but
glow
it's
sticks
powerful.
in the form of an arrow. In the form of an arrow.
I'll try it.
Show you which way to go.
Yeah.
You can crouch, by the
Yeah,
way.
duck
here.
You can duck under this thing,
I
Mesh.
love all of these.
How do you duck?
Right analog stick.
All of these quests. It's like they're in the high school gymnasium or something, like an art project. It's hilarious.
Well, what's crazy is that it's like they know a lot of most kids, right? So you want them, you want to put them in an environment that may seem similar or something they recognize but different, right? It's cool.
Right.
All right, I'm scared.
All right, here we go.
I'm in a bad spot. I can't really shoot anything without shooting somebody else. I'm always afraid to just run up. For that reason.
Out.
Fuck, I'm out. I'm out.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Nice.
Is Roots up yet?
Thank you.
Okay,
Yep, I'm up.
I couldn't find you. Couldn't find you. I was scared, Roots. I was so scared.
Mash.
Bro.
Grenades in there.
I don't want to go in there. I'm scared.
I'm assuming that
Yeah, well,
if we
Nowhere to
finish,
pull
we get to
something,
keep all this money that we collect. I don't know. I don't think I've ever finished one of these.
You never finished? Oh, behind us. In front of us. No, Bruce started in front of us. Oh, they're coming. Nice.
Oh yeah, I recognize this spot.
Out.
I'm down.
for me to shoot these guys without shooting you.
Where are you, Wes?
He's in the
Through
room.
door to the right. And it's coming home. Here come the little guys. Look, watch the ground. Watch the ground.
My God, that was close. That was close.
Watch out. Sneaky, these little bastards.
Oh, here comes some more robot guys too.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Look down on the floor.
Yeah, thank you.
I got it. You got more?
Crap, crap. They spawned right on. Four guys. I can see. Two more. Oh, no, there's two.
Nice.
I got in too deep, too hasty.
No, it's crazy, dude.
Never mind. Jimmy's been kicking ass in here. I think he's the only one that hasn't really gone down behind us.
Go. Head movement. Head movement.
Nice.
So Jimmy, I saw your name on the cover of a comic book in my social feed today. I guess you're into that,
Oh, yeah.
the whole scene, right?
Yeah, I quite enjoy creative writing. I do a fair bit in my free time, not as much as I used to do. But yeah, it was about 6 years ago I tried my hand at a comic book. Got to pitch it to like Image Comics and stuff, but it didn't go anywhere, sadly.
So you were the writer then. I was wondering if you did pencils
Yeah.
or writing, because you mentioned who the inker was, but you didn't mention
No.
who did the pencils.
Yeah, I tagged in Cheryl Henderson, so she's a really talented artist from, I want to say Dundee, but it's somewhere in Scotland.
I used to be really heavy into the comic books. Actually, when I started collecting was when Image Comics first started up, when Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee and all those guys left Marvel and started Image. That was many moons ago. Let's do it. Oh, this is. I think I know what this is. This is really cool. This is probably the coolest part I've experienced.
Now boarding Flight to Sector 17. All passengers must proceed to the escape vessel.
It's right there. It's easy. Just go right out there.
Oh, I think that's it.
That's the escape vessel. There's guns in there and everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, are these different guns?
No, this is more rifles. Blast off. You guys ready?
Yeah, blast us off.
Prepare for takeoff in 3, 2, 1.
They're gonna come from everywhere.
Oh, we're flying.
Are we?
Well, it's pretend, right?
Quest.
Yeah, really. I'm down.
Oh, I fell off.
The little guy's coming. I'm trying to shoot them, but I'm missing. Got one.
Oh, damn. Little guys.
Oh, fell off the side. I'm down.
Oh, little guys, little guys.
Oh, shit. Friendly fire got me. Still down.
Oh, there it is.
I'm down.
Oh my god. All over the place, dude.
Where'd my gun go? I lost my gun.
Oh man, I got this shitty shotgun. God damn it.
That's all you left.
Down again.
Down. Get me back up quickly. Where'd my gun go? I have no weapon. Yeah, I found a pistol.
I'm gonna move in and see if I can get these guys to stay back.
Watch out, there's one right
They're
there.
still right here.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, I lost my machine gun.
Get it.
Now arriving at our destination. All passengers must disembark the vessel.
Killing it, guys. We're killing it.
Crushing it.
Crazy.
Hey, this is it,
I
man.
understand what-
I mean, West, the end. Jumbotron.
Jumbotron. Oh no.
Oh my god.
I think this is it.
Look at Jimmy. Jimmy caught me. Good work, bro. Killing it, dude.
Yeah,
This
hell
is
yeah.
this is why he gets paid the big bucks, guys.
Well, and really what it tells you the most about is you're not dying to shit. Like every time you die to the enemy, you lose 1,200. And I keep dying a lot. And so does Mash. Mash is like zero at one point. That's why we're so low.
I think I've killed you two a lot.
He's talking
friendly
trash
fire
there.
is really quite
Does he have a health bar?
a weak spot. I don't know.
Like, am I hurting him? I don't even know if I'm hurting him.
I think if you shoot him in the actual screen,
That's what I've been doing.
it seems like
Oh yeah, okay. All right, we got residual enemies now. What?
oh shit, I'm out. Two of them coming. Oh, motherfucker! I'm down. No, these guys are bad. They're shooting a lot of enemies. Or, I mean, weapons.
Jumbotron's shooting at us again now.
Ouch.
I'm down. Down.
We gotta get to the other side, I think. The other one. Look, the guns can't hit me right here. Oh shit, now they can. Did we do it? We did it! Woo!
Dude, first
Oh my
time in.
God.
Look at that.
Pick your reward, a
Pick a
reward we
reward.
chosen.
Well, Jimmy, I want to thank you
yeah.
for being candid and answering all of my questions.
I know, right?
I've had to plug my quest into life support.
Do you think it'll let me write on him? That's what happens when you fall asleep in Roots' dorm. Oh, won't let me write.
All right, so I guess we shouldn't waste the opportunity while we're sitting here. Let's talk a little VR, Jimmy.
Cool.
So you guys have started publishing. We talked a little bit about Little Cities as we were getting into the game there.
Yeah.
What does that entail exactly when you guys pick up a smaller studio to publish for? Do you guys just help them with marketing, or do you help them with developing the game? Do you give them advice? Do you give them actual support in the form of programmers, etc.? What does it really mean when you pick up a studio like that for publishing?
Yeah, so it really depends on what the title needs just to get it over the line and to launch. So it could be anything really, from like you say, like marketing, from a little bit of brand design. So maybe the idea's there, the gameplay's fun, but they need to know how to package it. Yeah, down to like the nitty gritty of they've got a really good idea, but they need like the technical support to help bring that to market.
All right.
So yeah, it's a really case by case basis depending on what the titles need.
Cool. And do you typically like scout these smaller studios out, or do they just kind of put themselves forward and you have like a field that you pick from?
Yes, it's a bit of both really. So we've got a mailbox, which is, I'm going to say it, publishing at nDreams.com.
Right.
So we get, that is quite active. We get a lot of submissions. So regularly when we've got like announcements, we drop the publishing line in there, just saying like, if you're interested, if you've got something interesting that you'd like us to look at, get in touch. But we are also on the lookout as well. So if we see something that really catches our eye from an indie dev, then we'll reach out as well. So it's works both ways really. At the moment, the lion's share is people reaching out and us going through those submissions. But yeah, there's been a lot.
What
It's
so
really kind of amazing with publishing and what you know with indie devs coming and what we're going to be seeing now in the future of virtual reality with bigger companies coming in. For indie devs to survive in this type of market, I think going forward, bigger developers are going to have to get more involved in publishing because, as more AAA companies get involved with VR, as we start to, mature, the indie devs could die out easily if they don't have a backing or a support system from bigger developers to be able to get these games out. So I think it's super important right now.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I mean, like I mean, when you talk about a super small team like Purple Yonder, I mean, it's a pretty big deal just to be able to go to the main Quest store instead of, being locked in App Lab where people can't find your title. Literally can't find your title on App Lab. So I got to imagine that. I mean, just that alone, it has to be worth the, whatever kind of cost is involved from, from a developer standpoint. Um,
Yeah, I think it helps having that kind of support because I mean, we've been doing VR since 2013. I mean, we've been around since 2006, but we pivoted to VR in 2013. So I think it helps that as well as like we've taken our lumps, we've released really good games, we've learned our lessons, and we've got those contacts as well at like key platform holders like Meta, like PlayStation. I think just getting an in and a foothold and getting noticed because that discoverability is a real problem. So yeah, I think that definitely helps.
it's like you're playing the role of an agent, like an actor or a sports, athlete would have an agent who has all the contacts, right? Who kind of takes care of
Yeah.
everything. It's kind of what a publisher is, right? It's kind of like an agent for smaller devs.
Yeah.
Uh, with regard to Little Cities specifically, what kind of sold you guys on that? I mean, was it the fact that we really haven't seen a city builder yet in VR, or was there something specific about those people, their project? Or what exactly was it about this project that said, you know what, that's going to be the first thing we do?
Yeah, well, I was speaking to Ellis, who's our third-party publishing exec that sort of mans that mailbox. Like, what is it that like jumps out at you for the amount of like contact we get from people just reaching out with their projects? What makes something like stand out? And it's really hard to put your finger on. I think Ellis, they said you kind of know it when you see it.
Right.
But I know with Little Cities specifically, it's obviously quite an underserved genre in VR. It's really big in flat screen, but it's not really been attempted that much in VR. I mean, there's titles like Space Folk City, which was another indie dev. I'm blanking on the name at the moment, but that was like a cool take on city creation, which was like in space. But yeah, other than that, there's not a whole deal in that genre. And what Purple Yonder had was just a really strong like core idea from the tone of it and just what they wanted to do with it. I mean, they originally, Kelly and James, who are the husband and wife duo who founded Purple Yonder. I mean, their team's it only grew to 6 people, and for 6 people to deliver like Little Cities was kind of mind-blowing to us. It was like, how have you managed to make something of this quality? It was really impressive.
Yeah, we're starting to see more and more of that as we're now getting, on in years, 5 years, 6 years that consumer VR has been a thing, and we're starting to see now a lot of this 2-3 person teams. Even like I played The Living Remains the other day, and that was a great experience. But it's literally a husband and wife team on their own that made that over 6 years, but they got it done, and it's fairly polished for what it is. Anyway, Roots, are you with us, buddy, or is he on break? I think he's on break, isn't he?
I was just stepping away from the headset for a second,
That's
but
cool.
I can hear you.
That's cool. Just take your time. Whenever you're ready, we'll. Do you care to check out that? What's it called? Wendigo, or let's see.
Was it a horror one?
Yeah, Legend of Wendigo VR. It's on this little featured rooms thing over here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's also the Conjuring experience.
Yeah, I'd like to check out both of those, honestly. So either one's fine.
I'll go with the first
So,
one. Let's see when
21st of April, right, on Little Cities. When we played the super early build of that, I was surprised at just how accessible and intuitive it was. Like, there was no tutorial, no UI. It was just the base, game. But what'd you say, Mash? 10 minutes and you had the whole thing figured out?
Yeah, I was hugely surprised when I first got in. I'm like, oh my god, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And what I did was I recorded it, and I was going, because I recorded it to post to YouTube, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm recording this, and I'm going to have to put it out there, and I'm not going to have any idea what I'm doing. But literally within a few minutes, you pick it up real quick, and I did the whole video, and I didn't even have to edit it. I ran the whole thing exactly as is because I picked up everything so fast that it was perfect.
Yeah,
very
I
intuitive.
think that's one of the big sort of design philosophies they've got with the game, like for it to be really accessible and like fuss-free. I think a big thing for them was it to be accessible for like new players, but provide enough kind of challenge for people that are really into city creation, because you kind of got to appease both sides. But with I keep muting myself by accident with my hands.
It's all right. I haven't noticed.
But yeah, I just want to obviously say that the full game does come with a tutorial. It was just the very early build that doesn't, for anyone like really concerned.
Right. This was months ago, literally when right after you guys first announced the project, or maybe even before you announced that we played it. So yeah, I'm sure that it's quite filled out now, and looking forward to seeing the final build and how it actually turned out. But that's kind of, I would imagine, that kind of the target audience that you're going for, right? Like the casual city builder. Like this is something that you don't have to necessarily be a fan of the genre or have any kind of experience in it to enjoy. This is something that anyone can pick up and play, right?
Yeah, I mean, complete transparency from myself. Like, I'd not really played a city builder before. The like city creation and city craft wasn't really something I'd looked into, even on flat screen. But I found I could pick it up really quickly. I think the first time I put the headset on, the build just after yours, like the early pre-alpha build, I think it was a Saturday, and I lost about 4 hours in it. I just put it on and just played through, and by the time I took my headset off, it was dark, and I was like, Jesus, where did the time go?
Yeah, it's interesting you guys say that, because I've had several people reach out to me since we've kind of been talking about it, and they're like, Mash, I know that you hate doing anything tedious in VR, because I do. I don't like doing games that make you grind things out just for the sake of grinding. So they were like, why did you like Little City so much? What was different? And to me, I think it was just a happy balance. I don't want a city builder where it's a chore for me to go in and keep track of every little tiny thing to try and keep the city running. But I want enough challenge to make it interesting. So I think you have to find a good balance. And for me, what I played in that early version, I thought was a great balance. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the finished product. So, I keep telling people, I think this game is going to be approachable for those kind of people that just don't want to have to grind things out, but want to go in and do a city builder and have a good time with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think they went through about 4 or 5 iterations of their UI just to make everything streamlined. I think James was saying that a big focus was like looking on how people take on board information through like infographics and things. So like when you look at the watch, you get all the information you could possibly need. And it's not like you're not navigating like menus upon menus upon menus like you would be if it was flat screen. So I think it's really like enhanced by VR using that, because it just feels natural to like flick your wrist over and look, oh, they're not happy because there's not enough jobs, etc., etc.
Cool.
Does it make you nervous at all with the other city builder that's coming out shortly after your game?
No, I think both can quite happily coexist. We're kind of hitting a similar audience, but different, if that makes sense. We do offer something, I mean, Little Cities does offer something quite different. It's like built from the ground up for VR. It's a lot more cozy. It's, yeah, I mean,
There
you've
it
seen
is.
I mean, you've played it, you've seen the art.
So here's the drinking game to the viewers out there. Every time you hear the word cozy, take a shot.
Yes.
I love it.
No, but I agree with what you're saying.
D's drunk already.
I think
Mm-hmm.
I think when you talk about the competitor, you're talking about a franchise that is going to bring a specific crowd into the Quest ecosystem. But when you talk about Little Cities, you're talking about a game that's geared toward casual gamers that are already here. That's kind of the Quest gamer, if you will, that's just kind of looking for the next thing to play. But that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah. Agreed.
I have one request before we move on from Little Cities. You know, when you get into the realm later down the road, when it's a huge success and you're looking for ways to keep it fresh, I want the Donkey Kong DLC where you can build your city up and then take a giant gorilla and pound it all down.
Yeah.
Rampage.
We've had a
Little Cities Rampage.
Yeah. We've had a few AMAs where, I mean, natural disasters was one thing that was a big ask, and we've put that in the game now, and that's been really
Nice.
well received.
Really?
But,
Awesome.
Yeah, it was I think it was December when we had the first round of AMAs, and there was a lot of people asking for natural disasters. So since then, the launch build's going to include volcanoes and sandstorms as well.
Nice. That's awesome. Weather,
Hell
natural
yeah.
disasters. That's
Playing as Godzilla was the other.
Yeah, right?
well. You could
Meteor
even.
would be cool.
Yeah, there you go. Solar flares. Solar flares burn up the power line.
Yeah,
there
that's
you go.
right. Yeah, it gives
Yeah.
CME, right? Take out half your city.
There you go. Anyway, I think we're good on Little Cities roots. Whenever you're ready, sir, we can go experience. We're going to do some user created stuff, Jimmy. This is what we've been doing so far has been from the Rec Room team, but now we're going to get into some user created
okay.
stuff.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's dark. There's a flashlight.
Wait, what?
All right, cool. This looks cool. Imperium Corporation restricted area. Trespassers will be shot. So maybe don't go in there.
Yeah, right.
So Jimmy, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, nDreams, one of the top VR studios in the world in 2022, largely due to the success of the last couple of titles, right? Phantom Covert Ops, Fracked for PlayStation VR, both, highly regarded, well-reviewed titles. Both, consequently, platform exclusives.
True.
Seems to be a little bit of a departure from nDreams' early days. Would you say that the reason why those games are as good and as polished as they are has to do with the fact that they are exclusives and they have extra funding, et cetera, et cetera? I'm trying to beat around the bush here because there's this, long-standing debate about exclusives, whether or not they're good for VR or bad. Some people say that, it locks people out. It puts up too many paywalls around the good games. But while others say, well, these games wouldn't even exist if it weren't for that funding. So I'm kind of curious what your opinion is on exclusives. And as we walk through the door here, if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think I can definitely see both sides, but it is true that a lot of these titles wouldn't exist, like not just from ourselves, but a lot of titles wouldn't exist if not for some degree of exclusivity, whether that be full platform exclusivity, whether that be timed. But no, I don't suppose that the quality bar is that alone. I mean, don't get me wrong, more funding definitely helps, and longer development cycles. But just getting the first-party support as well, and access to, I mean, their marketing, getting signal boosted that way, getting trailers on official channels, that kind of thing. It's kind of the issue we talked about earlier about discoverability for indies. I mean, at its core, nDreams is still an indie developer. Granted, we're quite big.
Right.
But yeah, getting that first-party support definitely helps a lot.
Maybe not an indie for long. You know, if current trends hold, there might be some big money, more big money, I guess I should say, coming your way.
I was gonna say, I think we've already gotten a little bit of big money.
So specifically I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mash.
I was gonna ask the question that we all want to know the answer to right away. So, talking about exclusives, will we ever see a game like Phantom Covert Ops on another system, or would we see Fracked on another system?
That was literally what I was going to ask. Are those timed exclusives?
See?
Do the platform holders own the rights to those, or are they nDreams property?
So it is a case-by-case basis dependent on the title. Quick question, when does this actually air?
It can air whenever it needs to air.
Yeah, right.
Well, if it airs on the 19th, which I think we mentioned, next week, whenever we're recording this, we're announcing Frack's coming to PC. So
Nice.
PC VR game.
Hell yeah!
Yes. That's awesome.
Hell yeah!
So, I think you're the only people outside the studio to know at the moment, because I've not actually done that outreach yet.
All right. Well,
Oh, nice.
we'll be sure not to.
Safe with us.
We'll be sure not to publish this until then, or if we do, we'll cut this little bit out so that it doesn't make it.
Yeah, I think we're either announcing it next Tuesday or next Thursday. I need to check my calendar. I don't remember.
Nice.
But yeah, so yeah, basically it's a case-by-case basis. With Fracked, we really wanted more players to play it, basically. So it's coming to Steam, it's coming to Viveport, and it's also coming to the Rift store as well. A little bit after that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any possibility that any more content will come to Frack? Because as you know, people love Frack, but it universally has the one criticism that, you can finish it in a couple hours, which is not good for a $30 title.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think VR games specifically, especially like single-player, narrative-driven, a little bit cinematic, that's quite a common complaint or a common concern that the VR games aren't quite long enough. And I think we'll see that whilst ever the budgets and the development cycles are way smaller than their flat screen counterparts, for example. But I think we're definitely getting to the point with adoption rates where that's definitely going to shift, especially with PSVR 2. So obviously we're working on quite a few titles at the moment for PSVR 2. But yeah, I think at the moment we're kind of, with Fracked specifically, we're in a weird spot, especially with the PlayStation VR, the original, because we're kind of at the end of the generation.
Right.
And we've committed quite a lot to developing next-gen titles. So at the moment it's not on the cards because we don't really have the capacity, because we're focusing on learning the lessons from Fracked,
so
applying them to the new games we're playing.
Basically what you're saying is that the OG PlayStation 4 is holding you back from giving everyone what they want.
No.
That's not what he said,
Actually,
but that's what he said.
Wes, what I got was Fracked 2 PSVR 2.
Exactly.
That's what I got.
Speaking of your two PlayStation VR 2 titles that are in development, can you tell us whether or not those will have any kind of exclusivity, be it timed or otherwise?
I can't reveal too much about our next titles yet, but I will just say we didn't specifically say two, we just said games.
games.
That's all I'll say, Wes.
Ah,
Mm.
that's even better.
I like it. I
All
like
right.
it.
All right, I love it. Thank you, Jimmy. You gave me all I want. Let's walk.
Do you copy? Wait,
Can't be good.
who are you? Damn it. Low ranks. Look, I've been attempting to get an Imperium evac for the past hour. It's beyond me why you decided to show up to such a hellhole, but you might just regret that. Look, regardless of status, maybe you can help me. Since you can't really leave either, and your rank may be low, but I'll brief you on some intel that may help you along the way. What we're dealing with isn't like any walk in the park. Yes, it may sound ridiculous to suggest, but we might be dealing with what native folklore calls Wendigo. It may or may not be of direct native folklore descendant due to its appearance and physical abilities, but this thing can somehow pass through solid objects like wet tissue. Files suggest that this creature, quote, like many others, can disperse their atoms and physical constructs to pass through objects which would typically be impossible to pass through. In other words, these things do not like to play fair, and they will cheat. They don't give two shits about your human life.
What?
You've been warned. Anyway, I need to stop rambling and let's get this shit done.
Let's get it
I'm gonna
done.
open the gate in front of you so that you may continue with your objective, so that you may... Shit. Take cover in the cabin next to you. That thing is close by and might hear the door open. These doors are very loud. Hide inside and don't come out. This thing will kill you on sight.
There's a mountain pass.
There's a key card. Keypad.
Keypad? Oh, there is a keypad.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if we need that ID card
Where's
that we
that?
found in the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where is it, Mash? You got it?
I give it to Wes.
Did you
Yeah,
lose
He's got it
I
on his
just-
waist. He's got it on his waist.
Oh, it's
On
on
your
my waist?
Wes, start on your waist.
Alright. Can I use it here? No? Oh,
There
yeah.
you go.
Oh, shit.
We did it.
Spooky.
Nice. Yeah.
There's the cabin. Maybe.
Hide the cabin roots.
Don't come out. Is this really a cabin, though?
There's something on the ground over here. It's the letter F.
F.
This episode is brought to you by the letter F. I can't reach it, though. I'm too tall. The seated mode just makes me float higher when I bend over.
Fuse, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
a fuse.
could be a fuse. That's very,
Alright, let's
very
go.
good.
Well, I
Thank
guess
you,
we keep
Jimmy.
going.
That's why you make the big bucks, friend.
Yeah, right.
So, Jimmy, this studio elevation. This is a brand new studio. I think they said that they're going to be focusing largely at first on like remote work, and then as things get established, maybe go physical a little bit later. But from the sound of it, a lot of focus on innovation, a lot of focus on the larger projects. So first of all, does this mean, is this basically on a very basic level a means for you guys to develop multiple titles, multiple large scale projects at once?
Yeah, pretty much. So we've got now 3 studios, which is crazy because I joined last March and we only had the one, and the publishing label was still quite young. So yeah, we've got Studio Elevation, which is going to be focusing on AAA VR games, and then we've got Orbital as well, which is live service games, and then obviously the nDreams HQ, which is the original.
Right.
But yeah, it's just so that we can sort of decentralize everything and work on multiple projects at once, and whatever sort of one of our other teams are working on, we can help support them, but we can also like keep working on our own projects at the same time. So yeah, it just means you get more nDreams games quicker, basically.
Nice.
I mean, look at the amount of growth you had since you've joined the company. That's crazy, the amount of growth that your company has had. I mean, you've been there for just over a year, you said?
Yeah. So I think our the publishing team that I'm a part of as the community manager, I think we've doubled in size. As a studio, we're up to about 130 people now, but we're hoping to be about 170 people by the end of the year.
Nice.
Really goes to show you the health of virtual reality and where, this, the landscape of where we are right now, that companies can grow that big that fast.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's money. The money's just pouring into the tech right now. Like everybody's got this metaverse fever, and they're just throwing money down left and right. We literally do a segment on our show every Sunday called Big Number of the Week, and literally it's just every week. $35 million, $500 million. I mean, it's just every week something more.
Well, it almost goes to show you that people outside of VR are looking to invest in virtual reality now, where that probably was not the case even a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. I think people are seeing its potential now. Outside of like the niche that we've had, it's definitely becoming. I mean, whatever mainstream is, it's definitely becoming more mainstream.
Any ideas with this thing here, guys?
A lot of the company, I have no idea. A lot of it's they're following suit to what everybody else is doing, right? Like these big companies, once they start pushing and they start investing, it sends a signal to all the smaller ones, and it feeds on each other. And I think that the memo went out that the metaverse is coming, and you can either get on board or you can be left behind. And so companies are scrambling to get on board. So I don't know what's going on with this thing.
We might need to go somewhere else because we can't get in here.
Was there anything else in any of the other buildings?
I didn't see anything unless you can move those boxes around.
Nah, you can walk through them.
So when I read about Elevation, Jimmy, I hear buzzwords like innovation and AAA, and immediately PlayStation VR 2 comes to mind because those are literally what I think of when I think of PlayStation VR 2. So is it safe to assume that at least one of these new PSVR projects are being worked on at Elevation right now? There's a dog.
Probably safe to assume there'll be. Yeah, I can hear that as well. I thought it was in the game. The Wendigo's a dog.
Yeah. It's not a Wendigo, it's a beagle.
Yeah, sorry. Lost my trail of thought now.
Well, we were talking about PSVR 2 and PSVR 2 and Elevation Studio.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, it's still early days really for Elevation and Orbital. So they're staffing up at the moment, getting all their ducks in a row. Obviously projects into pre-production, ideation, that kind of thing.
Right.
So for the immediate time being, a lot of stuff's still being done at nDreams HQ, but the teams are very quickly getting into place for the other projects as well. But yeah, like I say, like previously, we've got like multiple PSVR 2 games in the works, and our other studios will be key to that as well.
Can you share with us whether or not we should expect any of these titles to be launch window titles? Maybe not launch day, but launch window.
We'll have more to share in the future. That's a very politician answer, but that's all I've got for you, Wes. I'm sorry.
I expect, to be honest, I expected more of that from you than what you've actually given us. So it was expected, and I appreciate you being as candid as you have been.
It's all right.
I don't know what to do, guys. We need to pick a direction and walk, I think. Where is Mash?
Where's Mash?
Did the Wendigo get him?
I don't know. I think so. I got his flashlight was here, guys.
Uh-oh.
I got his flashlight. I got 2 flashlights.
I bet his...
Is that what this thing is? All of a sudden one of us is going to disappear?
Well, let's hope so. I think it's more likely that his headset died, but maybe it was the Wendigo. Hopefully it was the Wendigo.
Why is his flashlight still here?
Because his flashlight batteries are still good, bro.
Oh, that's right. See, there's the logic we need.
There's the cabin. Here we
I'm
are.
gonna find that concrete building right there. There you go.
If this don't open, I don't know what we're gonna do.
My God. Hello.
Oh no.
Oh, red.
It's red, and that's red. You'd have thought.
Yeah, it should open. Right, by that logic.
You would think.
By Doom logic, that should work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's put all the cards on it at one time. There we go. Put that one in there. We'll just drop this one in here.
That did it. That did it.
Here, I'll give it my flashlight. Take my flashlight.
And it turns into a Megazord.
Yeah, right? Perfect.
There we go. Beautiful. This is why we love the user-created stuff more than the official Rec Room stuff.
This is this is better than the BioShock Half-Life.
It opened!
Oh, it opened!
It worked!
Hey!
The flashlights. It was the flashlights.
I know. I knew it. If there's
Guys,
nothing in here, though, I'm
there's
gonna flip
nothing
my
in
shit.
here. There's nothing
I'm
in
gonna
here.
flip my
dude.
shit. Why would
There's
you
nothing, bro.
No, I found something.
Oh, there is. There's an F.
Oh, so you found the second
Oh, it's gone
F?
through the wall.
There's another F.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here's another.
There's another F in that room. Oh yeah, you got it.
It's the F and
Teleport to the
F.
wall. I don't know how to.
We're totally F'd, guys.
Fantastic Freddy's.
Yeah, right.
So maybe we go
Alright.
to that other red gate. Now we've got 2 fuses.
Yeah, I think that we need to take
Yeah.
the F's and the cards and the flashlights.
And get the F out of here.
And very, very
It's gonna be
stressful,
something good.
intensive. Okay, so.
Alright, so we're going to drop this
Hey,
here.
Nintendo.
Drop that there.
Oh yeah, torches. Forgot. Yep.
Yeah, for the
Oh, yeah,
flashlights.
Trying to put my ID in there. There we go. Got that one.
How do we know who? What if I grab somebody else's flashlight? That's not
yeah.
cool.
That one there.
All right, my flashlight's in.
And flashlight in. Alright.
I wonder whether this is like 3 rectangles on the base. Do you think we need 3 fuses?
I don't
Can
think
you-
so.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, maybe.
There's
There's something down there.
Where did that go?
There we
Yeah,
go.
there it is.
Hey.
I think
What
I,
happened?
Oh, there's the Wendigo.
I put my hands in there and started triggering it, like trigger, trigger, trigger. I think maybe that's what we need to be doing. There's a button.
Okay.
There's an imaginary button that we need to hit.
Well, you
Hey, we
need
got
something else up here.
another thing to go in. Nice.
What about the meta gaming showcase? I mean, I know we've got Little Cities stuff coming up on that. nDreams have anything else going on with that, or is it all going to just be Little Cities footage?
Yeah, so we're actually not taking part in MetaConnect this time. It
Oh,
just
you're
didn't
not?
line up.
Oh, okay.
No, because with Little Cities coming out the day after, there's not really anything more we can show that people wouldn't be able to see before they played it.
Right.
So yeah, projects just didn't line up.
So
But no,
basically,
we'll
what you're
have, a lot
saying.
more to show you soon.
So what you're saying is that you're focusing on PlayStation VR 2, and Meta can stick it, right?
No, absolutely not.
They're focused on the PlayStation VR showcase. That's a day after the Meta showcase.
Right. That's what we're all focused on, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, Jimmy, I had a blast, man. Thank you for coming and hanging out and playing some games with us today. Like, so fun. I wish
Yeah.
we didn't have a show. We could just go back and Wendigo all night long, huh?
Definitely. Well, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Anytime,
And
brother.
I'm sorry it took
Yeah.
me about half an hour to get in.
Well, that's how it,
Yeah, right.
that's
Oh,
how
it's not
these
your fault.
yeah, that's how these things go. Every time we do one of these, there's an hour of technical, troubleshooting and stuff before everything starts to work. But it always works eventually. So thank you
We got there in
for
the end. Turn it off and on again.
right. That always works, right? Mostly. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to our channel, subscribe, ring the bell. That way you can stay up with all of our awesome content here on Virtual Strangers. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap up our episode for Eric and Roots and Jimmy. I'm Wes. We'll see you next time, friends. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Cool.